Hello everyone, this is Diana and today we are making these fluffy homemade biscuits. First thing you're going to do is melt 1/4 cup of butter in the microwave and set it to the side to cool down. Get a large mixing bowl and put a sieve on top of it, then add your flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, and sugar. Then sift that into the bowl to remove any lumps. And the remaining lumps you can just use a whisk to push those through. Then whisk it up a little bit so everything is well combined. Then set your dry ingredients to the side. Then you're going to take a half stick of cold butter and cut it up into small cubes. Then you'll add your butter to the flour as well as some shortening, butter flavored shortening. Add that into the bowl and then use a fork to cut the butter and the shortening into the flour. Just press down until everything is well combined. You'll see that the flour kind of gets like greased almost. You'll have greased flour and the butter and shortening will be in small balls, kind of like a coarse sand that look like little pebbles in there. So once it gets like that, you're going to add some whole milk yogurt. This recipe uses yogurt instead of buttermilk. And then you're going to add some plain milk. Then you're going to gently stir those into the dry ingredients. You want to work gently but quickly because it's important for everything to stay cold. So keep on doing that. You're just going to mix it and kind of fold it over until the dry ingredients are incorporated into the wet ingredients. Try not to overmix it so that your biscuits don't turn out tough. Now I had a little bit of flour that wouldn't really mix in, so I'm going to add just like a tiny splash of milk so I can get it all incorporated. It was probably like a teaspoon, half a teaspoon maybe. And then just mix it until you don't see any more patches of dry ingredients. And then I actually stick the whole bowl into the freezer for about 10 minutes while I prepare my working surface. And to prepare my surface, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour where I'm going to drop the dough and also a little bit off to the side for me to be able to dip my hands and my cup in. After 10 minutes is up, I'm going to take my cold biscuit dough and I'm going to drop it onto the floured surface. And then I use my floured fingers to gently shape this into a ball. You want to be really gentle with your dough to keep your biscuits from getting tough. And I'm not using much flour here, so it is pretty sticky, but that's also to keep my biscuits moist. So just shape that into a ball. I flipped it over so I could get the flour on both sides. And then I'm going to pat it down into like a oval shape or rectangle shape. And then I'm going to get my roller, which is actually just a cup. I'm going to roll that out. Make sure you dip it in some flour first so that it won't stick to the dough too much. And then gently roll it out until it's about 1 inch thick. Then I'm going to fold this letter style. I'm going to pick up one side, fold it over, and then fold the other side. So I'm folding it in thirds, and then I'm going to pat that down again. This is to help create layers in the biscuit. Once I do that, I'm going to take I forgot to flour it, but take a floured roller and roll it down again gently to about 1 inch. And then you're going to fold it letter style the other way. So fold one side to the middle and fold the other side on top. Like I said, this dough is a little tricky to work with. Just keep adding flour to your hands as needed. Try not to add too much, but do as much as you need to make this workable for you. And then once you folded it, roll it down again gently. So it should be kind of a rectangular shape. I'm going to roll it down so that it's about 1 inch high. Your biscuits may fall over when they bake if they're too tall. And it's going to have to be wide enough so that I can actually cut my biscuits out of it. I'm using this cup, my roller cup, as my cutter as well. I'm going to flour the top of my cutter. Then I'm going to put it on the dough and push it straight down. Make sure not to turn it. Very important not to turn it. Just push it straight down and pull it straight back up. And then I'm going to just cut out as many of these as I can. My cup is a little wide, so it only makes 4 the first time around. And then I'm going to remove the excess dough, and I'm going to take the biscuits and place them on a cookie sheet that has been lined with parchment paper. Pick it up carefully and set it down on the cookie sheet. Make sure they're touching. They should be touching each other so that they can rise properly in the oven. Once I've done that, I'm going to repeat the process, make sure I have some flour on my hands, and I'm going to gather up all the scraps, and then I'm going to shape that into a ball. Work carefully and as quickly as you can because you do not want these to get warm before you put them in the oven. Keeping the dough cold will help them to rise properly while they're baking. I'm going to put a little bit more flour down on my surface and roll it out again. Fold it letter style, roll it back down, and then fold it again the other way, just like we did before. Roll it out, and then you're going to cut biscuits out of the remaining dough. Push straight down, don't twist it, and pull it straight back up. I'm just going to kind of freeform the last biscuit because it's not enough for me to really cut it out. So I'm just taking the remaining scraps and just putting them together in my own little circle shape. So that one probably look a little weird when it's done, but it's okay. It'll still taste good. So now that you have them on your cookie sheet, take that butter that you melted earlier and spread about 1/3 of the butter onto just the tops of your biscuits. I was able to get 6 big biscuits out of this dough, but you might have more if you have a smaller cutter than I do. Then you're going to stick this in the oven that has been preheated to 425 degrees and bake them for about 10 minutes. And then take them out. You can see that they're not done at this point, but you're going to brush them with butter again. So brush the tops again with another 1/3 of the butter. And then stick them back in the oven for another 5 or so minutes until the tops turn golden brown and they're cooked all the way through. And then at that point, take the rest of your butter and brush it onto the tops and the sides all over the biscuits so that they'll get that nice buttery taste. And they're all done. These came out really well. The yogurt was a great alternative for buttermilk. These things are soft and fluffy. They're nice and sturdy, so you can make a sandwich out of these if you wanted to. But my favorite way is just to put some butter and some jelly on them. I'm actually putting some watermelon preserves on here that my mom made, and they were really good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you get to try it, and I hope you enjoy them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check us out at www.likingourlove.com.